I have a temporary order for extended standard visitation that is supposed to ramp up over time, but my ex is not cooperating. I'm Tulsa attorney James Worth, and that's the question that was provided to us that we're going to answer here. So I have a temporary order for extended standard visitation. Okay, so what is extended standard visitation? So although there's no formal standard visitation, generally, colloquially, when we're talking about standard visitation, we mean every other weekend. If we're talking about it being extended, usually that means instead of being from Saturday morning to Sunday night, it could be from Friday night to Monday morning. So it sounds like that's what the case it is here. Every other weekend, Friday night to Monday morning, returning back to school. But it's supposed to step up. So we got a temporary order where it was understood that over time it would step up. So additional visitation to the point where, you know, the dad in this case gets a little more visitation after a while, gets a little bit more until maybe it's a 50-50 schedule. That was what was anticipated. But it sounds like those weren't the specific terms in the order. Just the order said that it's going to be this extended standard visitation with the understanding that we'll try to up it over time. And now the ex is not cooperating, not agreeing to go beyond that. So what do you do? Well, first thing you do, if you want to have a step-up provision, make sure it is part of the court's order that it's explicit. After X amount of time, it goes up. Then it goes up again after X amount of time. Sometimes the other side may not agree to that because they want to see how the visitation goes. Sometimes that visitation could start off as supervised or monitored. So you may have a third party that's not the judge, but that's also not biased that would determine that. So if you have a professional monitor, they may put in reports, and as long as those reports don't have anything bad or supervised, as long as those reports aren't bad, then it'll automatically step up after a set amount of time. So if you can have the specifics in the court order, then it's a lot easier to enforce, and it kind of happens on its own as opposed to you kind of having to beg your ex, can we please move it up? So in this circumstance, it sounds like there was no teeth to that order to force that step up provision. So now she's kind of wanting to delay that, maybe not cooperating. So what do? Well, you move the case forward. Ultimately, a temporary order is going to be superseded by a final decree. And the closer you get to that and forcing them to work and go to court and potentially lose and spend money on an attorney, the more leverage that you have. So the other side doesn't sound like they're going to push the case forward, so you need to push this case forward. So that means that set it for if discovery and everything's done, set it for a pretrial conference, get mediation dates, go to mediation so that doesn't hold you up, and then ultimately get that pretrial conference order and get it to trial. And then at that point, demonstrate you've done everything that you were supposed to do, that there was an understanding it would go up. She hasn't cooperated with that, and see if you can get the court to order it to go up as part of a final order. Or maybe by agreement once you put a little bit of leverage in that you're moving this case forward to trial. So if you're dealing with that circumstance, though, every case is different, every judge is different, every court is different. The law may be the same, it's not always applied the same, though. So you're going to want to talk to an attorney about your specific circumstances. To get that scheduled with the lawyer at my office, you can go online to makelawEasy.com.